Hello students, today we are going to discuss poem 6 of the book First Flight, that is Amanda, written by Robin Klein. Robin Klein is an Australian author of books for children. The poem deals with the upbringing of a small girl Amanda. It highlights the struggles faced by the child. Poet Robin Klein makes an important point that a child should never be denied freedom and space. There is always a conflict between parents' aspirations and child's fantasies. But love and proper care is required in nurturing of a child. So, dear students, let us discuss the poem. Stanza 1. Don't bite your nails, Amanda. Don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. Stop that slouching and sit up straight, Amanda. In the above lines, Amanda is getting instructed, most probably by her parents, for biting nails and sitting lazily with her shoulders bent. The tone of instructions here is not friendly one and thus fails to make any sense to Amanda. The poet here focuses on the aspects related to the upbringing of a child and how parents go to any limit to bring proper sense to their child. Amanda is thus getting trained for the society she is a part of. The pressure of making oneself presentable to the society triumphs over every other behavior and manners. The last phrase or word Amanda is used with an exclamation mark, which shows the irritation and frustration of the parent. Now see part 2 of stanza 1. That is, there is a languid emerald sea, where the sole inhabitant is me, a mermaid drifting blissfully. Dear students, it is to be noted that the above lines are given within brackets. Brackets are used to provide more meaning to the phrase. Here the poet uses it to present the imagination of the little girl, the free flow of pure thoughts. Amanda uses her imagination as an escape point from the day-to-day commands of her parents. She feels suffocated in the real world and thus finds peace in her very own created world where there are no restraints. She imagines herself to be a joyful mermaid sailing without any confines alongside soft waves of the green sea. This world of Amanda is free and contained in itself, and her happiness doesn't require any other human being. For a child, mermaid is a symbol of freedom and wonder. Now come to stanza 2. Did you finish your homework, Amanda? Did you tidy your room, Amanda? I thought I told you to clean your shoes, Amanda. So, here Amanda is now being asked about whether she has finished her homework or cleaned her room, and also whether she has cleaned her shoes. This set of instructions marks a shift from the instructions given in stanza 1. Now Amanda is being coached about the things that are related to her surroundings. The pattern of instructions explains that how every aspect of her is related to the questioning and proper guidance. She is being disciplined for every little thing, making her loss of her freedom. Her innocence is eventually getting lost with the passage of time. The way these instructions are delivered points out the regular nature of these lessons, and her name being called again and again with an exclamation mark shows the parent seems to be losing their cool and are troubled. Now come to the second part of stanza 2. I am an orphan roaming the street. I patron soft dust with my hushed bare feet. The silence is golden and the freedom is sweet. In this stanza, we once again see Amanda's reaction to her mother's harsh words. Amanda withdraws into another imaginary world. The very first line is awfully depressing, where Amanda imagines herself to be an orphan, suggesting how much frustrated she is with the continuous questioning of her parents, especially her mother. She has no shoes on her feet, and instead she is getting them even dirtier by making the designs on a dusty ground with them. However, she makes no sound while making these dusty designs. She cherishes the silence as well as the freedom to do as she likes that the world of her imagination. Her love for silence is as a result of shouting and yelling of her parents. Now come to stanza 3. Don't eat that chocolate, Amanda. Remember your acne, Amanda. Will you please look at me when I am speaking to you, Amanda? The set of instructions provided here indicate how much essential it is for Amanda to understand the value of external beauty and steps to be taken to preserve it from a very tender age. Amanda is stopped by her parents from eating a chocolate as previously that he had caused her acne. Here we see how a child is made conscious of a natural experience such as acne. However, Amanda is still lost in her own thoughts and doesn't care enough to look up to her scolding parents. This carelessness further angers the parents and they ask for her attention and when she is being scolded. The role of appearance in the society is given more significance than the basic values and creativity. Now come to part 2 of the same stanza. I am Rapunzel, I have not a care. Life in a tower is tranquil and rare. I will certainly never let down my bright hair. Amanda is still lost in her own thoughts and she pictures herself to be a long golden haired Rapunzel who lived in a castle and had no care about anything. Amanda imagines herself that life of a Rapunzel must have been very peaceful and fantastic in the tower, but she wishes to evade the fate that was met out to Rapunzel as she is unwilling to let her hair down. Amanda doesn't want her peace to be disturbed by anyhow. She seeks a life which is away from any other human form. We can see here how the presence of her parents and their inhuman behavior had made her against any human connection. Hence, she only wanted to live by herself as the presence of another being in her life would require her to act in a certain way. Amanda wanted to live as a free and happy person. Now come to the last stanza. Stop that sulking at once, Amanda. You are always so moody, Amanda. Anyone would think that I nagged at you, Amanda. So, the parents keep instructing Amanda on the do's and don'ts, but Amanda remains lost in her own dreams. The parents believe that Amanda is not reacting because she is annoyed. Amanda's behavior has made her parents look bad and they are worried about their image. They are concerned about how society will perceive them if their child always remains in a foul mood. They want to prove themselves as a responsible parents who manage to balance out what the child wants and what the society expects out of Amanda. However, they have already failed in their efforts. So, dear students, the poem conveys the message that children need to be allowed more liberty. Excessive nagging makes them defiant and they turn a deaf ear to the instructions of their elders. They develop a kind of dislike for the real life and start escaping into the world of dreams and imagination. In fact, the poem indirectly emphasizes the need of healthy bond between parents and children. Now let us discuss the literary devices used in the poem. First one is anaphora. As you know, the repeated use of word in the start of 2 or more lines, right? As in the poem, don't bite, don't hunch, did you, there is a repetition of don't and did in the poem. Next is assonance, use of vowel sound o, as for example, don't hunch your shoulder. So there is a repetition of vowel sound o. Next is metaphor. Use of word emerald sea for the green color of the sea being similar to the color of emerald, right? On the other hand, silence is golden. Silence is said to be glorious like golden and colorful. Freedom is sweet. Freedom is said to be sweet in taste. So here is an implied comparison. So metaphor is used. Next is repetition. As you know, there is a repetition of word Amanda throughout the poem. Next one is alliteration. Stop that slouching, sit up straight. There is a repetition of consonant sound S. So alliteration is used here. Next is allusion. Dear students, allusion is a literary device when we give direct reference to any person, place or any mythical character. So as in the poem, mermaid is well known imaginary creature and use of fairy tale character Rapunzel in the poem. So this is all about the literary devices, right? I hope this video is useful to understand this poem well. Thank you.